It's not about politics. It's about football.
This is a simple game.
We're going to run the ball, and we're going to pass the ball. We're just going to play football, really.
How good of a football player are you?
I just get in and try to spin it. That's all.
I just love the game.
It really is the best time of the year.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Issues Football. I'm Trevor Sikkema. That is Mike Renner joining y'all on a Tuesday for a jam-packed show as we talk about the NFL. As you can see from my sweater, we're doing Dogs of the Week, but it's Christmas edition. Mike kind of called me out a little bit the last couple of weeks because you had dog shirts on for Dogs of the Week, and I didn't recognize it properly, and I was like, you know what? This week, I'm going to make sure that I wear some sort of dog attire.
And you did. Your dog.
Literally. It is. It's literally my dog. It says Marvel on the bottom. I can't lift it up past the computer, but it literally says my dog's name on it. So we're going to be talking about Dogs of the Week. We want to hear from you guys as well, shouting out some top NFL players that we've seen over the weekend. We're also, in the spirit of Christmas, going to talk about some Misfit toys in the NFL, some guys around the league who we think aren't being utilized properly on their team and either need a change of scenery or we need to figure out how to use them a little bit better. And then finally, at the end of the show, I think we're going to have a rousing debate, How many quarterbacks right now are you taking over Trevor Lawrence? I've already seen people go back and forth in the chat about it. That's going to be something that I feel like is very debated, if not here on this desk, then between us and the chat as well. But Mike, how are we feeling this morning, my friend?
I feel good. The Packers won, baby. Oh, they're back. Only three more and they make the playoffs.
What's the percent chance?
Still close to 0. Now, that moved the needle a little bit. They obviously were expected to win that game, but this weekend went well for them, I will say. The only thing that could have gone better was the Lions losing would have really helped them.
Right.
But I do still think they win out. I think the Cards will sort themselves. Now, talk to me after they beat the Dolphins on Christmas, then we can talk. Right now, it's just fun to see them, playing like maybe we had thought they would at the beginning of the season.
You said before we started the show that even Rodgers himself said hey, this offense is going to be fine eventually. Yeah. It's just whether or not it's too late.
Too late. And it's looking like it might be too late. But they look at least when Romeo Doubs is on the field, when Christian Watson is on the field, they have enough rapport now with Rodgers that I do think, even though Watson missed a hand signal yesterday still, they have enough rapport with Rodgers that I do think this offense can still move the football.
Do you remember after the game in that interview, he was like, yeah, if you want to score touchdowns, you got to run the right route. And I was like, damn, okay. I mean, I guess, somebody like Rodgers is allowed to say that.
Did you hear the whole hand signal gate thing? Apparently, he has this whole, hand signals that he runs himself. The coaching staff doesn't know about his hand signals. He does it himself so that to keep it as tight a circle as possible of people who know, so that the hand signals don't
So he doesn't tell the coaches?
No. So that no one finds out about this and it doesn't get leaked.
Aaron Rodgers is a heavy conspiracy theory guy.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't seem to trust very much. So much so that he has his own hand signals with his own players.
Yes.
Didn't know that, but that's very interesting. If you had to guess right now, would you say that the Green Bay Packers' chance to make the playoffs are double digits or single digits?
Single digits.
It's 11%.
Oh!
We're in double digits for the Packers to make the playoffs.
1 in 10? That's what's something in your day-to-day life that's probably a 1 in 10 chance usually. I'm trying to think.
A 1 in 10 chance?
1 in 10 chance. That just goes about what is a 1 in 10?
Me winning a Warzone match.
Okay, there you go. It's just 1
in 10.
It's just like a game of Warzone.
If I win
or not.
If I log on tonight and I win a singular Warzone match,
the Packers make the playoffs.
Packers are making the playoffs.
The first one. You have to win the first one.
And
which is what it's like.
All right,
the Packers are making it.
So the Packers are making it. Shut up, Eli. Nobody asked you. I didn't even get the production portal guys into the show. But I will now. What's up, everybody? What's up, Eli, Saab, Quinn? How are we feeling in there? Other than being feisty about my Warzone skills.
You know what we need to do? You know what would be a good segment idea?
What would be a good segment
Ranking our top conspiracy theories in honor of Aaron Rodgers.
Ooh.
Well, it just came out. The CIA said that they killed JFK.
Very topical.
So that one's proven.
You can't just say that casually on the show.
It just came out.
But you
Breaking news.
You say it just came out as if it's 100% fact. Oh, hey, it just came out.
Well.
As if it's a Schefter tweet.
yeah, it's a Schefter tweet.
JFK on IR again.
Woj bomb.
No, we're not doing this. We're absolutely not doing this. Quinn, please distract us with a question of the day here to start the show.
All right, this is not a conspiracy theory. This is an actual fact.
Okay.
There was only one team without a single pass touchdown in the fourth quarter or overtime of a game this season. Who is it?
Oh. There's one team without a fourth quarter or overtime passing touchdown. We are in week 16. That is wild.
That's a good question.
It's just got to be a team that is terrible. But who's been... My first thought is the Browns, but then the Browns had that game in, what was it, week 3 against the Jets? Oh, I guess that was a comeback for the Jets, though. No. The Jets almost blew it. Sav, am I remembering that game correctly? That Browns game against the Jets.
Don't hate on my Browns.
No, right. But this might be the answer. I can't remember how that went in the fourth quarter.
My first thoughts were the Broncos.
That's a good one.
Just because it's the Broncos.
Well, you count the number of toilets in Russell Wilson's house. And
Exactly.
Get you
I
kinda
thought about the
close to
Panthers,
the answer.
too. I don't really feel like the Panthers have been it, but they've been down in games, so it makes sense if they would score a garbage time one.
No, PJ Walker had the GOAT touchdown throw of the season.
Oh, you're right. He did. Yep, against the Falcons.
Gosh.
I think the Broncos is a strong guess.
Texans, did they this past week?
Chat's saying Titans, too. Broncos, Titans.
Oh, yeah. Haven't the Titans been just atrocious in the second half?
Yeah. Adam said this isn't the Colts. Or no, he said isn't this the Colts? Colts don't have a passing touchdown in the fourth quarter?
No, Alec Pierce had the game winner. Again, also. Earlier this season.
Yeah, you're right.
Was it the...
No,
I know
don't
Alec
think
Pierce
it's
did
the
have a
Colts.
game winner, though.
Broncos, Titans are two that I like here. Haven't been able to debunk those.
Someone said Broncos had one against the Chiefs. Did they, though? I can't remember.
In the fourth?
I know they came back like hard in the late second, like third.
Yeah, was that bleeding into the fourth quarter? Did they get one of those touchdowns in the fourth? Titans are a good one.
Oh, someone say New England. That'd be interesting. I could see that.
No, New England threw a touchdown this week.
Did they?
Yeah, in overtime. Jacoby Myers threw it right to Jalen Jones.
There you go. That was a throw.
It was a throw. It was a throw. All right, we'll ponder this a little bit. Y'all ponder it out there as well. We'll get our final answers at the end of the show. It's a good question, Quinn. Just getting the blood flowing. This is good. Speaking of Schefter tweets, not conspiracy theory. Jalen Hurts, although the severity of the injury might be a little bit conspiracy at this point, Jalen Hurts reported that going to miss at least a week, at least that was the initial report, with a sprained shoulder injury. Now, the MVP caliber quarterback for the team with the best record in the NFL, to his throwing shoulder. What do we think about this news, Mike? Because the second this came out, it was initially, he's got a sprained shoulder, but then all of a sudden, there were games past this weekend that felt like the lines were moving. That they think that this is going to be a longer-term injury than people are leading on. Now, the reports that all came out this morning, they don't seem like doom and gloom. They seem like, it's just a sprained throwing shoulder. But I'm just curious, when you saw this news, what'd you think of it? And as aggressively as the lines have been moving over the last 24 hours.
I mean, anytime you hear throwing shoulder, right, you're worried. Now, he did play the whole fourth quarter with it, because obviously it happened at the end of the third quarter. He went 6 of 9 for 102 yards in the fourth quarter. He was fine, realistically, as a passer. So if that's any indication of the severity, I don't think it's a huge deal, but I do think this is one of those injuries where if he had to play this weekend, he's getting a shot in that shoulder and he's playing. But it's because you are currently the 1 seed. You do have Super Bowl aspirations. Any more hits to that shoulder, and with how much he is involved in the run game, you really just don't want to subject him to that because it's hard to take that aspect of it away. Hard to just tell him, hey, don't run. That's who he's been his entire life. So I do think that's probably the thing here. We're talking about long-term. Am I worried about the Eagles come playoff time? That's so far away from now, realistically. You still have over a month that I think they just keep him sidelined until it's 100%, and then you bring him back. So I don't think I'm too worried come playoff time for them.
Yeah, because they only need one game to clinch home field advantage throughout the playoffs. You play the Cowboys in Dallas. This is going to be a tough one anyways this week. But then it's at home versus the Saints, and then at home versus the Giants. I think you're pretty comfortable rolling, because remember who their backup quarterback is. It's Gardner Minshew.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, like, Gardner Minshew, it's no slouch. Like, Minshew can win you games, especially with a team that is as talented as the Philadelphia Eagles. So, to me, it feels like as an outsider analyzing this situation, I'm at least saying these next 2 weeks are Minshew's weeks. If they still need a win against the Giants in Week 18, then I think you evaluate Hurts and you go, okay, do we need to play this guy? Because if you do, then you get another week's rest, which would only go into how much help you would get. Healing him up, making sure he's as close to 100% as possible. But that's my strategy. I'd go the next 2 weeks, Minshew's no matter what. That's what I'd be saying.
I 100% agree. You gave yourself the luxury of a competent backup. Gardner Minshew obviously qualifies as that with his time in Jacksonville, how well he played. So very shrewd move there. Obviously, when you have a quarterback that's so involved in the running game, investing in a quality backup is probably something that's important, as we've seen with Lamar Jackson over the course of his career in Baltimore, as we're now seeing in Philadelphia. All the people championing pocket passers are having themselves a field day with this news. But I do think there is some, criticism to be levied to the coaching staff for letting Jalen Hurts run the ball 18 times in this game. Obviously, one of those gets called back, 17 official rushing attempts, but that was the most he's had all season against a team like the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
I do just think at this point in the season, with where you're at, 14 design runs for your quarterback is a tall task to ask. And especially, again, against a team like Chicago Bears where, it was a close game. A lot of those rushes were, and it was still tight. But you have to think you can beat them through the air enough that you don't have to subject your quarterback to that many hits at this point when you know you're going to be in the driver's seat come playoff time no matter what you do.
Yeah, I go back and forth on that, right? Because, you are trying to win football games. You are trying to play the best game that you can, right? It would be insulting to everybody, I think, going out there to think that, okay, we're not going to put our best foot forward in this game. You definitely want to be smart about it, but I don't seem to hate it as much as other people do with how many design carries he got. And did he need that many? I think Miles Sanders only got 11 carries or whatever it was. And it's like, okay, you probably could have given those to your running backs a little bit more, but they're honing in on a strength that you've highlighted here on this show.
I was going to say they watched the show.
What is going to make the difference for them, I think, down the stretch is honing in on that X factor part of their game. So maybe it was a little bit of just practice as well. They want to make sure that part of their offense is in tip-top shape going into the regular season. So people are out there for the coaching staff, and I do agree with you. There is some responsibility, but I don't seem to be as hard on Nick Sirianni as other people do of how could you do this? I definitely understand why the game plan was the way that it was. So that's just kind of where I am about it. Walt, definitely a big fan of Minshew Magic. Walt in the chat says, will be on display on Christmas Day for my lowly Raiders.
Week and a half after Mike Leach passing, hopefully. Quite the story.
Legend of Gardner Minshew will live on. Jonas says, is Minshew the best backup after Jimmy G? Or is he just the best?
He's a top 5 backup, right?
Yeah,
I think that one's – I think I'd call him that. Now the best backup, difficult to say because you don't get to see, most of them. So I'd put him in the top 5, though.
All right. Well, you guys kind of letting us know what you think about the Jalen Hurts news. You can continue to do that throughout the show. As we bring in our first topic of the day conversation, we'd love to hear from you guys on this one as well. This segment, it's a Christmas-themed segment. It's called Misfit Toys, okay? If you've ever... Misfits! Thank you, Saab. I appreciate that. If you guys have ever seen the movie The Island of Misfits Toys, obviously it is exactly that. It is toys that either have something that could be a little bit better, something that could be used a little bit better, and we're taking that a little bit into the NFL. So Mike and I are looking around the NFL. We're looking at players on rosters, and we're saying, could this player be used better in this current situation, or do they need a totally different situation entirely? So Mike, I'm going to start with you. Who is your first misfit toy in the NFL right now?
My first one, and I get that he's been injured of late, but should be coming back here, I believe, in Week 16. It's Khalil Herbert, the Chicago Bears backup running back. We have a similar situation of what's going down in Dallas, but obviously less publicized because it's not the Dallas Cowboys. But Khalil Herbert's a damn good running back. You don't have to watch too many of his games this year when David Montgomery's out to realize that, averaging 6 yards per carry on the season. But the stat I want to see there is the 19 explosive runs. 19 carries of 10-plus yards on only 108 attempts. Damn near 1/5 of his carries are going for 10-plus yards because he has that to his game. He ran sub 4.5 at his pro day coming out of Virginia Tech, averaged, I believe, 8 yards per carry in his lone year there at Virginia Tech after transferring to Kansas. I loved him as a prospect. Couldn't believe he fell to where he did. I think he was top 100 player on the PFF draft board. But David Montgomery continues to get the bulk of the carries when they both are healthy in this offense. And David Montgomery just does not have that explosive element. If I have a Justin Fields in the backfield, I want another explosive weapon next to him. David Montgomery is not that. On 172 carries, he only has 15 explosive runs this season. I'm hoping Ryan Poles, that front office, sees Khalil Herbert's emergence and says, hey, David Montgomery will let you walk this offseason. I know we have a ton of cap space, but I'm not ponying up to bring back David Montgomery. This offense needs that explosiveness at the running back position. That is Khalil Herbert. It's not David Montgomery.
He's been playing very, very well. I remember watching him out of Virginia Tech and just thought this is a stud zone blocking scheme runner. Like, he just understands the flow of offensive line and spaces and cutback lanes and everything, man. And so it's not really a shock that he's playing well in the NFL. You could definitely see that in his college tape. I think that's a good one, and I like the comparison to potentially being in that Tony Pollard role where it's just for so long we're like, okay, give the ball to Pollard. You don't want that with Khalil Herbert. You want to get the most out of it.
I think that was formerly the Aaron Jones role. That then Aaron Jones proved, hey,
oh yeah,
I don't need to be the second fiddle. I can do it all on my own.
I think that's a good call out. It's a good call out there. My first one, I guess my two are more obvious ones than your two. Mine's Kyle Pitts. The second I thought about this segment that we were doing, Kyle Pitts was the first one that came to mind. And how could it not be, right? This feels like a player who's being completely underutilized with the Atlanta Falcons. And I get it. He's hurt right now. So nothing's going to change for the rest of this season. But you look at what this season was for Kyle Pitts. 10 games, he's got 28 catches. In 10 games, this guy's got 28 catches? This is an alien. You drafted this dude number 4 overall. As high as a tight end's ever gone in the NFL draft, basically. 356 yards, come on. This is a 1,000-yard type of wide receiver. Now, the threat percentage, I will say this. It is 26.5. That's a decently high number. I'd probably like to see it a little bit higher, but that's okay. It's not like it's the worst. I think that this kind of all boils down to Atlanta just did not have a viable passing attack this year. Clearly, they went into this season thinking we are going to run the ball. That's what our identity is going to be. They were perfectly all right handing the ball off to an array of different running backs that they've got on the roster, whether it's power guys, speed guys, veterans, young players, whatever. Okay with that, and they were okay with having Marcus Mariota there to help out on the ground. Moving forward, it's got to be a step up in the passing game, and it has to be through Kyle Pitts. This has to be the go-to example of a misfit toy right now for how underutilized this guy was this past season.
Have to agree. Have to agree. I mean, he's too much of a talent to squander. And I get the quote from Arthur Smith saying, play real football, not fantasy football.
Sure.
But
sure. Real football is getting Kyle Pitts the ball.
You don't have enough weapons on your offense to feed the guys that they've been feeding, let's say. So
Jason said, I do want to answer this. Jason said, what the heck is threat? So threat percentage is a PFF stat that we have that shows how often this player is getting targeted when they're running a receiving route. So it takes how many receiving routes that you have run divided by how many targets that you get. So you want to be, what would you say, the best wide receiver somewhere between
in the 30s,
25 to 35%?
Yes,
is what you would want to see.
Low 30s is wide receiver ones.
Yes. Yeah. So that's kind of where you would be. So that's a PFF stat that we use. But I'm glad that you asked that question because we were able to clarify it a little bit there. Who you got next?
My next one is one Andre Dillard, Philadelphia Eagles former first-round pick way back in 2019, 22nd overall pick. Has never really gotten the starting job. It's wild to say, kind of Weird to say a first-round pick never grabs a hold of a starting job, but that's been the case for Andre Dillard. Obviously had some injuries throughout his career, but the last time we saw him play, really, 2021, he had a 71.7 pass blocking grade at left tackle. There's a lot of teams that would kill for a guy who has a 71.7 pass blocking grade at left tackle that I know of. Now, he's sitting behind Jordan Mailata
and Lane Johnson
at left tackle and Lane Johnson at right tackle. Was injured earlier this year, why Jack Driscoll ended up getting snaps at left tackle when Jordan Mailata was out. But didn't allow pressure on his 35 snaps that he has played this season. I know will be the talk of free agency when he comes out, because people have to be thinking, what could this guy be? He's starting behind two Pro Bowl caliber offensive tackles, so no slouch or no real knock on him to say he can't crack that starting lineup. But the talent's always been there. Just has he been able to stay healthy on the football field? TBD. But yeah, Andre Dillard, someone's going to make him starting left tackle next season.
Yeah. Unrestricted free agent coming up this offseason, so it'll be interesting to see where Andre Dillard ends up going. I feel like for as disappointing as some Eagles fans would tell you that Andre Dillard has been, there's still so many teams in the NFL that would love to try him out and try him at offensive tackle. So I think that one is there. I just saw this one in the chat. Nathan shouted this one out. This is my second one. It's your boy, the guy that you were calling to start for the Green Bay Packers just a few weeks ago. Jordan Love, right? Hey. Jordan Love has been the misfit toy, I think, around the NFL that everybody's talked about. You draft this guy in the first round. He's playing behind Aaron Rodgers. There's this whole is Aaron Rodgers going to take a step back? Is he going to retire soon? And what happened? Well, he won back-to-back MVPs. And then we thought that he was going to retire this offseason, and he ends up signing a massive extension with the Packers. So when I look at Jordan Love, I think he's a misfit toy. But I don't think that you could play him at this point. There's no reason to. You called for it a couple of weeks ago, but there's no way that's going to happen now this year. So what do you do next year? It feels like Rodgers is enjoying things a lot more lately than he was at the beginning of the year. I wouldn't be surprised if Aaron Rodgers decided to come back, and if Aaron Rodgers wants to come back, have a hard time believing that Green Bay is going to move on from him. So I'd love to see a change of scenery for Jordan Love. I don't think we're going to get it because they invested a first-round pick in this player, and I might as well hold on to him, I guess. But I'd love to see what Jordan Love can do. There's so much bad quarterback play around the NFL. I wish he was in a spot where we could see him rip it. What do you think?
There's just not a lot of times where 3 years into a guy's NFL career, at quarterback especially, that they just only have one start to their name. And that was obviously when Aaron Rodgers had COVID last year. So, yeah, Jordan Love, he's shown enough this season at least to justify playing time somewhere. Not to say that someone's going to give him a starting job and just hand over the keys to him, but I do think the talent was never in question. It was just the developmental aspect, how far he had to go, and he looks like he's kind of starting to get there.
I just want to read off some ones in the chat. If you hear one that's interesting, stop me. We can talk about it a little bit more. Matt saying DJ Moore. I think the quarterback position goes a lot into that. Mm-hmm. John said Sky Moore. Your boy coming out of the draft. I think he's just behind a really talented receiver crew.
Yeah, he's just got a fourth fiddle there.
And he's been fumbling, hadn't he? Didn't he fumble a bunch?
He's just been muffing punts.
Yeah, I mean, he can't be doing that. You got to be making sure that you hang on to the football if you want to get on the field. Brosi says James Prochet, clearly underused. They got to use him. Who else do we have here? TJ saying Mike Gesicki. Again, you're throwing the ball to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. It's tough to get to Mike Gesicki in the pecking order, but he can attack over the middle, so you would figure that he'd get a little bit more action there. Uncle Dusty, our chat champ from yesterday, is Courtland Sutton. I don't know if it's a misfit. I think he's just misfired passes.
Yeah.
That's about all that goes into that one. I think they're trying to use Courtland Sutton a lot. A couple of people said Kyle Pitts at the beginning of it. Philip says Justin Herbert coaching staff's killing him. Not totally wrong there. And then at the top we have George Pickens. I feel like George Pickens is getting utilized a little bit, but you could use him a little bit more. And then the buzzard says Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's misfit? Hold on, wait. Is Zach Wilson misfit with the Jets, or is that a Zach Wilson issue?
Yeah, that one's.
I think it's kind of a think it's kind of a Zach Wilson issue. I would have told you Lee McNeil. That actually would have been a good one because I feel like earlier in the year they were trying to move Lee McNeil all around the Lions defensive line. Now I feel like they've honed in on him being just a nose tackle a lot more, and that's where he is used best. So that would have been a third one if I had an extra.
He's playing lights out too.
He is. That whole Lions team, just out here. Maybe we'll have some Lions in this next segment. It's everybody's favorite segment. It's Dogs of the Week, baby. I'm wearing the sweater. You guys are ready for it. It's time to get to it. Let's go.
Dog. He gets after it. He's a dog. Dog. He scored 5 touchdowns. Dog. He's a dog. He's a dog. He is a dog. Absolutely.
Absolute dog. As we do every single week, Mike and I are here to give you our 3 Dogs of the Week from this past week's NFL action. Guys, they're standing out one way or another. We want to hear from you guys as well. Let us know who your Dogs of the Week are, who deserves a shout out for their play from this past week. Mike, who you got here to start us off for Dogs of the Week?
Let's kick it back to the first game of the week. George Kittle of the San Francisco 49ers had his best game of this season. Reminded everyone that he still can do some pretty special things with the ball in his hands. 4 catches, 93 yards, 2 scores, 3 broken tackles on those 4 catches. Yeah, George Kittle, kind of an afterthought in this offense this season, but that's not really any slight at him, though. Like, he hasn't gone anywhere talent-wise. It's just they got a lot of mouths to feed.
It is kind of crazy how George Kittle happens to be a forgotten player in this offense.
Yeah.
I feel like, especially given the fact that they are on QB3, that he would be a constant player, that he would be the number 1 they go to. But Brock Purdy seems very comfortable spreading it around, whether it's Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle as well, but also Christian McCaffrey too. Certainly being in that offense definitely helps. So George Kittle getting a Dog of the Week nod, absolutely love that. My first Dog of the Week, I didn't even think that I was going to give Micah Parsons a Dog of the Week this week. And then I looked at his PFF stats. Micah Parsons had 12 pressures last week.
Oh, yeah.
Against the Jacksonville Jaguars. He had 12. That's the second most in a single game that we have had this season, only behind Nick Bosa in week 4, who had that crazy 15 pressure performance. Micah, 41 pass rush reps, got a sack in there, but those 12 pressures, 31.7 pass rush win percentage. I feel like a good pass rush win percentage is anywhere from 20 to 25. You're pretty happy. I think that the best pass rushers in the NFL are averaging around 20-25 pass rush win rate. Micah Parsons had 31.7. Again, the Jags won this game. The whole storyline was about the Jags. I really didn't think that I was going to pick any Cowboys players, and then I saw what Micah Parsons did this past week, so I had to give it to him. Anytime you get double-digit pressures, you got to be a Dog of the Week.
I mean, he's a borderline Dog of the Week on a weekly basis, but yeah, this week really came to play.
Yeah, he absolutely.
Maybe we'll have to do that at the end of the year. Maybe we'll have to do like Dogs of the Year.
Oh,
you know?
That's
because Parsons could very well be on that list. I agree.
That is a great end of the year awards. Maybe we could have an award show. You and I are just wearing tuxes up here.
Oh, I'd be down.
And we're just we're having a full on award show of all the segments that we've done. That actually be a good idea. Actually could be a good idea. Ooh, Browns says J.J. Watt, dog, 3-sack performance. I think J.J. Watt tweeted out that he got a random drug test after the 3-sack performance, which I always laugh at because it's the NFL is not subtle about it at all whatsoever. Anytime anybody goes off, they're just yeah, let's figure out what's going on over there. See if there's any foul play involved. NFL is out here being haters.
The random number generator is just stats based.
All right, what do you got next for your second Dog of the Week?
My next Dog of the Week is a rookie. We're going to Tyler Algier.
Yeah, buddy.
Running back, Atlanta Falcons. He went for 139 on the ground on 17 carries. Career high there. Touchdown as well. 100 yards after contact. Bested his previous career high of 99 yards in a single game after contact alone. Broke 6 tackles as well. Tyler Algier, fantastic all-around performance from the rookie.
And it's not even just the stats, right? It's how he gets the yards. My man runs the next yard he picks up is the last yard he'll ever gain in his life. And he puts every single ounce of emotion into every single carry. He was like Dameon Pierce coming out in that regard. His BYU tape was very similar to Pierce, where if you liked guys that had that mentality, that fight, that crazy level of dog in them, then you would absolutely love him. And he feels like it's a perfect match for him in Atlanta. My second guy for Dog of the Week, I got Hassan Reddick, Eagles pass rusher, who is now just on his third team and just continues to produce, man. He had an unbelievable week. Loved what I saw from Hassan Reddick. 5 pressures. All right, so it wasn't 12, but 5, and it was great pressures. Got to the quarterback twice, had 2 sacks, pass rush win percentage of 23.8. Now, these are good numbers, folks. I should have saved Micah Parsons for after Hassan Reddick, because now people are probably looking at it and being like, what a bum. But no, Hassan Reddick has been absolutely fantastic for the Eagles. I think their whole defensive line's playing really, really well, right? Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat, and then you throw Hassan Reddick into there along with the guys on the interior. That's part of what makes the Eagles defense so good, is because they have so many guys who can really collapse the pocket and get after it. Hassan Reddick's been an excellent addition to this team, and I think that he showed that again this week against the Chicago Bears. So I had to shout him out as well.
Yeah, Hassan Reddick's such a good edge rusher when you have like other edge rushers. If you can focus on him and get the slide going his way with just a speed rusher, he's nothing special. But if you get him one-on-one with a full head of steam and knowing he can get third downs, yeah, Hassan Reddick is a handful to try to block one-on-one. So glad that the Cardinals try to make him an off-ball linebacker.
Britt said Jahan Dodson. It's a Dodson.
Don't hate it.
What are we grading that out of 10? What are we grading that, Quinn?
9.
9?
I was gonna say like 5.5, like slightly above average. It was a decent attempt.
Eli,
I love it.
we've got to up your
Fun game.
yeah, like you got to get more puns in there. It was solid. I'm with Quinn. I think it was solid, but 9. Come on, buddy. Walt says pressures are overrated. Walt, come on, my guy.
You're on the wrong website, my friend.
Nate, I'm glad that Nate has this in the chat. Ramondre Stevenson, all right, 19 carries, 172 yards and a rushing touchdown. I would have put Ramondre Stevenson on here, and in fact, he was the first name that I looked at. The problem is he pitched it back to Jacoby Myers.
To be fair, Jacoby Myers, he could not have predicted said turn of events.
He did it.
It was a mistake.
He started it.
He's not the first guy to make that dumb mistake. For it to turn into what it did, it was not necessarily all on him. I mean, it was a good portion on him, but not all on him.
Zay.
But still, yeah. That doesn't happen. He's probably dog of the week.
100% it would have been dog of the week. So it's a good shout out, but we weren't going to put him on our list. Todd says Zay Jones, dog. Zay Jones emerging, completing. It feels like that Jags receiving core for this season. You say they can add a little bit to it in the offseason?
They should.
Kayvon Thibodeau.
Chat was clamoring for Thibodeau the entire time.
Well, I mean, Thibodeau was a monster. This is one of his. I haven't gone back to watch every snap, but even just from what I've seen, this was a fantastic performance from him. You highlighted him yesterday.
Yeah,
led the team in tackles.
That's why I highlighted him too much yesterday to go back to the well of dog of the week. But I did have another rookie that we didn't get to highlight yesterday that had, for my money, the single best play of the weekend. I like
Mac Jones?
One-man play. Roger McCreary. Cornerback.
Oh, what?
Tennessee Titans.
Wait, what was the play?
The throwback interception.
Oh,
it got no love because it was such an insane weekend, but he caught a ball.
Good call out.
From Justin Herbert, going out of bounds. Justin Herbert, safe throw away. Only my guy can get it, right? No, Roger McCreary can get it, jumping out of bounds, throwing it back in bounds to Joshua Kalu for an interception. Doesn't go down as anything in the stat sheet for him other than a PFF grade of a 1.5 in that play, because that was as sick a play as it gets. The headiness, the wherewithal.
You got a 1.5?
Fantastic stuff from Roger McCreary. Has to.
Not to question our grading staff, how did that only get a 1.5?
Maybe it got 2.
Yeah,
that like was low key the best play I've seen all year.
Let's go see it. I just assumed.
Get a 2.
But then on his other,
gotta get a 2.
I think he got targeted just a little bit later in that, like the next drive, pass breakup. Only 2 targets of the day. Roger McCreary, dog of the week. Easy.
McCreary's awesome. I mean, his Auburn film was fantastic as well. And I wondered how fast his career would start, because this is a player who's a little bit smaller in size, who is very comfortable playing on the outside. And I remember him going to the Senior Bowl, and they tried to play him at slot just because he is a smaller corner, and they put him in the slot, and he struggled. a decent amount during the week when they had him in the slot spot. And I remember asking him, I was like, hey, how comfortable do you feel in the slot? And he kind of like smiled and he's like, I'll play wherever they want, but I've never played slot before. And so I wondered if in the NFL there would really be an outside cornerback job for him to have, or if they were going to try to get him in the slot and he was going to struggle a little bit. But the Titans being able to play them the way that they have, I think you're really seeing some good returns for a player who had good cornerback tape at Auburn. So my last one, J.K. Dobbins. I got to give the nod to my guy J.K. Dobbins, all right? This past week, hold on, finding the stats. Got overexcited. Didn't have the stats here. This past week, he had 13 carries for 125 yards and a 9.6 yards per carry average. Folks, that's shades of Ohio State. My guy's out here thinking he's wearing the Buckeye colors again, averaging a first down every time he touches the ball. And the last 2 weeks, there's a little bit of a combined dog of the week here. 28 carries, 245 yards, which is the most in the NFL over the last 2 weeks, and a 8.8 yards per carry average, as you would expect. That is also the best mark in the NFL over the last 2 weeks. Dobbins looks great. And he even said on Twitter after this game, hey, I'm still kind of recovering, having confidence in my leg after that ACL injury. The long speed will get there. I promise I'll be able to break some of these runs off as well. Whenever Lamar Jackson comes back this season, I think they've got a really good 1-2 punch, but especially going into next year, I think that Dobbins as the feature back in the backfield is going to be sufficient for them in the run game. I think that they've got their RB1. And for that, he's got to get a dog of the week from me for how he has come back and how he's played over the last couple
I would say great to see him running well after all the injuries he's gone through over his career.
Walt said Baltimore lost.
They did.
Well,
Walt's been clamoring this whole winning matters, and I think that's kind of the point of the dogs of the week is maybe we give some credit to guys who even lost but played really, really well.
Mm-hmm. That's the dog.
It's true. Uncle Desi said,
a lot of dogs in the NFL.
There's a lot of dogs in the NFL.
Too many dogs on each side for every dog to win.
That's true. It's
for
true.
every dog to have his day.
Wow, that was good.
Thank you.
That was a good transition.
There were two ones that I think a lot of people were saying. Chandler Jones and Rayshawn Jenkins were two guys that everybody.
Rayshawn Jenkins was oversight.
Oh, Rayshawn Jenkins.
Yes, they were clamoring for that. And then also, I will throw in mine. Logan Wilson had 15 tackles this week, 17 last week, 15 this week.
What's his
That's
name?
insane.
What's his name?
Rip Wilson?
What's his name? Yeah.
Rip Wilson. Apologies.
Rip Wilson. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, it's a good shout out for Rip Wilson. Great shout out for Rayshawn Jenkins. We should have had him on our list. We should have. High impact guy. The savior of Jacksonville. Well, maybe not that. But the guy that we're about to talk about in our final segment feels like the savior of Jacksonville. But how much? What level? How do we quantify that? We're talking about Trevor Lawrence, all right? Trevor Lawrence having an unbelievable stretch here, feels like over the last 3 or 4 games, has totally turned the corner from those struggles that we saw earlier in the season. Obviously, you take into account what happened last year at the Lawrence Express. Oh, graphics team. I don't know what y'all are paid, but you're underpaid. That's all I'm saying. Trevor Lawrence has played absolutely fantastic this year, especially down the stretch. So it opens up the debate. The fun debate that us sports fans have all the time that we wanted to have with you guys. Rank it. Where would you put Trevor Lawrence? How many quarterbacks in the NFL are you taking over Trevor Lawrence right now? Mike?
Oh! Why do you have to do this to me? It's difficult. It's a difficult exercise.
That's the point. It's the point. We go where no one else goes.
He's been on a magical run, shall we say, through the NFL over the past handful of weeks. Stats are insane. I mean, the highest graded quarterback since week 9. And it's coming down the football field. It's not coming dinking and dunking. It's coming with impressive there. Look at 16 big-time throws. That's over 2 a week that he's averaging. That's real deal, high-end quarterbacking. He's doing it at late in the fourth quarter, multiple fourth-quarter comebacks over that span as well. So my list is tight. Mm-hmm. It is Patrick Mahomes, and this is like starting a franchise. Who am I, obviously, not just who today would I take over.
Sure.
Starting a franchise right now, would I take over?
Yep.
It's Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
It's Josh Allen.
Okay.
And it's Joe Burrow. And
that's it.
That's it. That is the only people I'm taking over him right now. It goes back to what you saw from him as a prospect, right? And this is still a small sample. It's only 6 games. I'm not going to act like he's going to be this guy the entire rest of his career. and that he's not going to have hiccups along the way, and that he's not going to be, he's never going to be a perfect quarterback. There's ups and downs, as we've seen with all of these guys on this list. But it goes back to how I thought of him as a prospect and what he showed at Clemson, albeit still in college, but freshman, sophomore, junior year, was as good a collegiate career as we've seen in a decade at the quarterback position. Since Andrew Luck, that we've seen at the quarterback position in terms of just soundness. I guess I'll say in terms of just consistency and what you'll expect, the things you'll expect at the NFL level that you're seeing already at the collegiate level. He had those, and the ceiling that could go as high as you wanted it to, because he is a high-end athlete for a guy, 6'6", 215, 220 pounds. He is a high-end arm talent quarterback. He does process at an elite level and did at the collegiate level as well. So it was kind of always, when is it going to happen? Not if it's going to happen. It's happening. And because of that, there's really only guys that I've seen play at that elite level for longer that and have won and gotten to the highest of highs or close to the highest of highs that I'm going to put above them.
I mean, that's why last year was so worrisome, right? I mean, like you took what felt like the golden boy for so long, right? Trevor Lawrence came on as a freshman at Clemson. We went, this guy's next. We crowned him so early. And yet because of the NFL draft process and the rules, we knew that there was going to be 2 more years of college football before this guy was even draft eligible. So we wait 2 long years finally to get Trevor Lawrence into the NFL, and it's Urban Meyer who's his coach. And we saw just how much of a circus it was under Urban Meyer. And we've even seen some players from the Jags in the locker room, they'll ask, hey, what's the big difference between Trevor this year and last year? And a lot of these guys will go, coaching. It's absolutely coaching. And that's why it was just so worrisome how bad it was under Urban Meyer. But Doug Peterson is the perfect bounce back coach. I talked about it yesterday. The chemistry that these two have together, I think, is absolutely fantastic. And so it is so great to see him taking those steps forward, showing those traits that you mentioned there that we believed in college. Now we're getting to see a lot of them in the NFL. I'll get to my answers in a second. But Victor says Burrow, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Justin Herbert are the 5. Brock says Mahomes, Burrow, Herbert, Allen, and that's it. So he's going with 4. TJ saying Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, Burrow, Hurts. Okay, so we got Hurts in there a couple of times. Britt saying Burrow, Allen, Mahomes, Herbert, not taking the runners / old goats above him. Uncle Dusty says he's not super high on Herbert, so he's probably not going to be on his list. Steven says Mahomes, Allen, Burrow. That's it. He's agreeing with you on that. Nate says Blaine Gabbert, Mike Glennon, Nate Peterman. Understandable. Definitely understandable. First time we've heard those names, but totally get it there. Totally get it. Walt says Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Herbert, Lawrence, and Hurts are his 6 quarterbacks right
Lawrence,
there.
he's taking above Lawrence?
He is taking Lawrence above Lawrence. Look, sometimes it's you versus the man in the mirror.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's what it's all about. Or maybe it's like an evil.
Dark side Lawrence.
Dark side Lawrence.
There's no dark. I feel like Trevor
now
Lawrence
I'm
has
kinda
0
into
dark
it.
side. Trevor Lawrence is about as like...
Yeah, but what if it was like Trevor Lawrence, but just like dark brown hair?
Dyes his hair black.
Jet black, straight emo, anime
He
style.
definitely gives off vibes that he could have been an emo king back in the day.
Look, I'm jealous. I'm jealous about that. Okay, my quarterbacks that I would take over Trevor Lawrence. I agree with you on your 3.
Okay.
I would also have Mahomes. I would have Allen. I would have Burrow in there. Those were the first 3 that I had. I'm also putting Lamar Jackson in there, and I'm putting Justin Herbert in there. Those last two are tough for different reasons. But ultimately, I look at Herbert and Lawrence, and I see them very similarly. Though that to me is a toss-up. You have arm talent there, you have processing, you have overcoming certain situations. Like, you just have those 2 players with Herbert and Lawrence. It truly, to me, is a coin flip. Like, those guys are elite quarterbacks and have elite futures. I think
they're 2 hymns.
They are 2 hymns, they're 2 hymns. There's no other way to say it. And then Lamar, I have to put Lamar in here because Lamar, I still think, is a phenomenal quarterback. what Lamar brings to the table is rare. There is no one else in the NFL, Jalen Hurts included, that can bring the level of passing and rushing that Lamar can when he's fully healthy. And I still believe that. I still believe that he is one of the most talented players in this league. And because of just the rarity of what we have seen from Lamar Jackson, although it is a couple of years ago, I still believe he has that talent. I actually love to see him in an offense that's not orchestrated by Greg Roman, but because of the uniqueness of Lamar, I still got to put Lamar over Trevor Lawrence right now.
Not to go all football guy on you, but the best ability.
Yes, I hear it.
Is availability.
I hear it.
Lamar never started a full season in his career to date. 4 years as a starter.
I hear you.
Full season.
I hear you.
15 games, 50 games, 12 games, and now 12 games only through this season.
If I was starting a franchise, I'd be sweating with those last two guys.
Yeah.
Like if it was a 100% serious in real life Madden Fantasy redraft, and I was on the clock, and I had Lamar Jackson, I had Trevor Lawrence, I had Justin Herbert available, I'd be sweating bullets. But that's kind of what I think. That's where I'm at.
I know it's crazy. We haven't really, there's kind of been whispers about this conversation, but the Jets should have had Trevor Lawrence. The Jets were the worst team in the NFL that year, back 2020.
Don't bring it up.
They should have.
They don't want to hear this.
They won. Winning those games they did at the end of the season was a travesty. And now they're, because of them, because you win every game.
So you an advocate for tanking?
Because you want to win every game. Yes, when it means you fucking getting Trevor Lawrence versus Zach Wilson, hell yes. Hell yes.
Mike's not afraid to do what he needs to do, what must be done. You could be a villain.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
Elena said Herbert is a poor man's Trevor Lawrence. Imagine Trevor with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Okay, Keenan Allen's kind of cooked.
Keenan Allen's been definitely
and
slow returning from his ankle injury, let's say. Keenan Allen, fun fact, same birthday as me.
And wow, happy birthday to both you and Keenan Allen. And Mike Williams just doesn't really separate at all.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, what would Trevor Lawrence be doing with Mike Williams?
But that was, I mean, he loved those guys in college, right?
No.
That was Justin Ross.
Sure, but I'm saying, like, Justin Herbert is already doing great things with those players.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't. That argument doesn't really faze me there. DT Dynasty says Justin Fields will be better than Lamar Jackson next year.
Take. There's a take. Draft him then.
The take. Do it. Put him on the list.
Lawrence Express.
Do it. Absolutely do it. Trying to see if we had any other very different lists. Lamar Hurts Herbert over him, and then he goes after. I assume that's after the other main guys like Mahomes and Allen and Burrow. He said Trevor is right. He's a Trevor. I mean, I would agree with that. Nigo said spot on, Trev. Wow, I'm just reading things that make me feel good in the chat. Words of affirmation. Love to see it. It's a good love language. Nate's not happy about the Lamar Jackson one. All right. That's about it. Most people have it here. Philip, this is the last one I'll read. Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, 1 p.m. Kirk Cousins, Justin Herbert, Lamar, then Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fair. And it's very fair.
No one taking Geno Smith or Russell Wilson. Interesting. I do wonder if 2 years ago people would have said Russell Wilson.
Yeah, probably. If you did this 2 years ago,
yeah,
I think you take Russell Wilson. I mean, you just look at his track record as a winner, as Walt would say.
He was a QB wins star.
He was indeed. Let's get. Before we answer the question of the day, we'll give you guys a little bit more time to think about it. The question of the day was: there's only one team in the NFL that has not thrown a touchdown pass in the fourth quarter or overtime this season. What team is it? While you guys think about that and you throw your final answers into the chat, Mike, what are some early lines that you like for next week's games?
I like the Eagles now traveling to the Cowboys. Jalen Hurts the Eagles, mind you.
Indeed.
Under 46.5 in that game. I saw it as a low-scoring affair with Jalen Hurts fully healthy. I do still think these defenses are still two of the best in the league. So, yeah, let's go under 46.5.
Well, the game that I liked, the line is already moved in my favor, so I actually feel great about it. When I looked at this last night, the Houston Texans were getting 7 points against the Tennessee Titans. Houston Texans team that took the Kansas City Chiefs down to the wire, to overtime this past week.
Yeah.
Against the Titans team that stinks. Don't know what to tell you. The Houston Texans were getting 7 points. Now they're only getting 5 points. I'd still be okay with it.
I don't love it at 5.
But I probably wouldn't take it at 5. But when I made this graphic, I'd have been confident taking it at 7. So that's what I'm sticking with. Keep an eye on it. Maybe it moves a little bit more. But if it goes in the opposite direction, we're probably going to have to pick a new one. So that's my thoughts for the early line there. All right. Question of the day. Trevor saying it's the Cardinals. Buzzard saying it's the Titans. A lot of people said the Broncos early on.
Yeah, didn't Kyler, at least against the Raiders, that one crazy game early in the season, didn't he at least have one? I'll go Patriots. I like that one. But I have no handle.
I like the Titans.
Heads or tails.
I
Okay.
like the Titans.
I'm trying to think.
I mean, they got to have a low number of passing touchdowns anyways.
They have one against the Packers. Yeah, I can't remember. All right. Shit.
All right, who is it? Before the lights fall down behind us.
I should have.
Spook Mike again.
I should have clarified. Oh shit, they are coming down. I should have clarified to their own team because Trev, you pointed it out. Jacoby Myers did throw a touchdown pass to Chandler Jones, but that was not on his own team. So yeah, it's the New England Patriots.
Wow.
Oh. So I got it right.
Yeah.
You love
Should've
to stumble
specified.
into the right answer. You really do. I'm going to puff my chest out like I knew this one the whole time. New England Patriots have not thrown a fourth quarter touchdown. I mean, we talked about it yesterday, man. Mac, the faith in Mac Jones, it's getting low. It's getting low. Do we have a chat champ for the day before we get out of here?
We do. It's Brandon Young. Been super active in chat all day, and then gave a shout out to our puns. And I feel like that's a big part of our show.
Okay. Yeah, well, that is a big part of our show. We need to up your pun standard, but you enjoying puns is a good thing, so I won't hate on you too hard.
It's like the first one I see in the day. It always makes me laugh. So that was an early one that I saw. So it's like, that's funny.
All right, shout out to Brandon for being the chat champ. It means you got to represent the chat in tomorrow's show. It is our last show of the week, taking a couple of days off for the holiday season, but we are going to be coming to you with plenty of great stuff. As you have come to learn and love, Wednesday's show, heavy draft focus. We're going to be getting Christmas wish lists for so many different teams in the NFL and then pairing them with maybe some prospects that we have off the top of our minds, some realistic pairings that we can see there. We're also going to be updating some rankings, some position rankings that we've had the chance to go over the last couple of weeks. So heavy draft focus tomorrow, mini mock draft feel. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm Trevor Sikkema. That's Mike Renner. For everybody in the production portal, thank you guys so much for watching It's Just Football. We'll see you guys right here at 11 a.m. tomorrow. See you then.
It's not about politics, it's about football.
This is a simple game.
We're going to run the ball, and we're going to pass the ball. He's just going to play football, really.
How good of a football player are you?
Not just get it and try to spin it. That's all.
I just love the game.
It really is the best time of the year.